What's up, creators? So today we're going to be building the login functionality, and we're going to be doing that with Provider. I have decided on Provider for this app just because I like the simplicity, so we're going to be doing that. This app that we will build will just be able to get to the home screen, not really do anything else other than that. But let's get into the actual implementation. So we did a live stream for this about how I was building the app, and it was the biggest disaster I could have imagined. The emulator just completely stopped working, nothing worked, and we didn't even get to the provider part. We just got to basic login and things like that. So it was a mess. Don't watch it. But let's get into it. So first, in our pub/spec YAML, we're going to want to add the dependencies that we need. For now, we're just going to need Firebase auth and provider. So we can save that. Close, what is that? We can save it, and we'll get the packages get. And then also, we're going to need to make a Firebase account for this. So we have one for the one I use for testing, or like before I actually do it, but let's create one for the actual book club. We got book club. Alright, so from here we need to go get our app name. We can get that from the Android folder and build.gradle. That's the wrong build.gradle, the one we want, this one. And our app name is Flutter, well, com.flutter.bookclub. Copy, paste it. Nickname will be book club. You can register that app. Download the JSON file. Put the JSON file inside the app. You can rename this to wrong one. Rename this to Google Service.json. Then next, what do we need? Go to the project level build Gradle, which is this. We need to make sure Google is there. It is. For the dependencies, we need to copy this, add it in here. And this Google is also there. So then we want to go to app level Gradle. We want Android.application. We have that. Want to apply this plugin. Can add it here. And then lastly, we need a dependency for Firebase Analytics. Well, we don't need it, but we'll add it. Also, let's make our minimum SDK version 21. This is for something called that's multi-dexing. You can check that out yourself, but it's a little complex. I don't fully understand what it means either. So now we should be able to run it and everything should work. So there we go. Our app has launched. And congratulations, you have successfully added Firebase to your app. Great. So we want to set up authentication. For now, we will only have the email method, but I plan on adding Google sign-in as well. So let's just enable that, save it, and we should be all set from the Firebase side of things. Actually, we'll keep it up to show that the account got created and everything later. So, first step now, let's just close all these. Just clean this up a bit, make it simpler. So let's create a screen called home, and then a file called home.dart. And here we can have a stateless widget called home screen. Import that. It's not how you import. And we could just have a scaffold, then app bar, app bar with a title that says, "This is home." Alright, so all set for that. So we want to add the actual state that we're going to have, which is the authentication state. I think for now, I'll make another folder called states, and inside that states folder, I'll create a file called current user.dart. So I don't know if we're going to keep it this way. Some people put it in models, but I'm a little confused about how those interface, so let's just do this for now. So we'll have a class called current state, and that extends change notifier. If you don't know what this is comes from the provider. You can watch the provider video that I have. I'll link it in the description. So here we're going to have string of user ID, and another string of email. That's all we really need for this, and not current state, current user. Inside, we need an instance of Firebase auth. Firebase auth.instance. This is just so we can create an authentication instance that we can use for the functions that we will create. And then let's create two functions. They're going to return a future Boolean value. Reason for this is because the signing up process is not going to be instantaneous, but we do want to know whether the user was able to sign up or not. And then also we're going to create another function called login user. So both of these functions will have a string for email and a string for password. You can copy paste that and add it to the function below. That's what you're going to be using to either sign up or, log in. Since they are futures, we need to make them asynchronous. And now we can start our actual code for this. So at the top, I always like to give my return value. So the default return value will be false. And then at the bottom, you can have return ret val. So default's to returning false. Then inside here, let's create a try catch block. And inside the try catch, we will do auth result, then auth result equals await, then the instance of Firebase auth that we have, and create user with email password. Email will be email, password will be password. So after we have this, we want to see if they were able to create the user. So if auth result dot user does not equal null, we want to return value true, that it was successful. So that's all for signing it up. For logging it in, it's going to be very similar to that. We can copy paste it. That's how similar it's going to be. So we're going to have an auth result. Instead of create user with email and password, we're going to have sign in with email and password. Then if the user does not equal null, we will return true as well. But we'll also set our current state to be UID equals auth result.user.uid. So we'll have a state now. Email is auth result.user.email. So we have our two states working now. One thing we do need is an accessor for both of these. So let's add that down here. We'll call it getUID, and that returns your UID. And then string get email, and returns your email. So that's it. We have everything defined for our state. Next step is, where do we provide this state to? Where is going to provide it to the whole app? So wrap with a widget called change notifier provider. Bring in the provider class, and we need a create. Inside the create, we need a context, and we will create an instance of our current user. Now our whole app should have access to the current user wherever we want. So now all that's left is to add it to the sign up and login screen. So we just need to do it in the forms. One thing you need for the forms, you're going to need a stateful widget now, since we're going to have text editing controllers. And here we need to add 4 text editing controllers. There. We have 4 controllers. Now each of them needs to go into a form field. So this will have controller, full name controller. This one will have controller, email controller. This one will have controller for password controller. And this one will have controller for confirm password controller. Now, whenever you click the raise button, all we're going to do is check if password controller.text is equal to confirm password controller.text. And if they are, then we will send to a function called sign up user. We will pass the email controller.text, the password controller.text, and the context. So this isn't defined yet. So let's create that function up here. Sign up user. Inside this function, to sign up the user, we will need the current instance for that user. So let's first rename this email and password. So the provider provides us the current user state. So current user, we can call it current user, and that is provider provider dot of what kind of state are we trying to get? The current user state, and then context, but also we want to do listen false, since we don't want to listen to anything. We're not changing the UI based on this or anything like that. So then let's also have a try catch. My rule of thumb is you always want to have a try catch function whenever you're doing something that's asynchronous. So inside here, if await, we'll take the current user state and try to sign up the user with email and password. So wait's not working since we need it to be asynchronous. And if they are able to sign up the user, we want to do navigator.pop. That's why we needed the context, because then you'll send the user back to the login screen. So let's try it out, see if we're able to sign up a user. So let's go to the sign up screen, full name. Doesn't really matter. We're not really using the full name. Then creatorbromail@gmail.com. Password, we'll do capital A, BRO 123. Capital A, BRO 123 4. Nothing happens. That's because I wanted to add one more thing. Else scaffold dot of context show snack bar. And the snack bar will be like this. Content, be a text saying passwords do not match, and a duration of 2 seconds. I'm missing a comma here. There. So now if we do sign up, passwords do not match. So let's remove the 4 and do another sign up. We got sent back. Let's look at the debug console. Firebase auth, preparing to create service connection. Notified ID token, auth state, listener, about user. We created a new user. We could check here to users, and there we are. Nice and simple. So then we need a very similar thing inside the login. Here, we'll need to make a stateful widget again. And then we're going to need 2 text editing controllers here. Alright, so we have our 2 controllers. Now we need to add those in to our text fields. Controller, and then email controller. And here, controller, password controller. Then once those are done, we want to call the function called login user. We'll pass email controller dot text. We'll pass password controller dot text, and we'll also pass context. And here we have the function that we need. Let's move it in right here instead. Make sure everything lines up nice. And here we will do email and password. Inside, same thing as before, we need the current user, state, provider dot. Listen, do false. And what kind of provider we want? We want a current user state. Save that. Once again, let's have a try catch. Inside the try, we'll do if and await. Since we're using await, we need this to be asynchronous. If await current user dot login user email and password. If that is true, we want to do navigator dot of context dot push material page route builder context and home screen. It's not showing up, but we'll make it show up. All right. And if that doesn't work, we want to do a snack bar just like we had here. Saying incorrect login info. And let's try it out. We'll try ABC. Password 123. Incorrect login info. All right, let's try creator bromail@gmail.com and ABRO123. There we go. We logged in. We go home. Very simple. So let's recap what we did today. We have our state with the current user. Inside the current user state, we'll have the ID and the email. 2 events that we could pass to the current user state is to sign up a user and to log in a user. That will give us sign up user doesn't change what's the actual state of anything, but login user does. Then in our main, we will provide the state of the current user to our whole app. And then sign up and login form, we just call the events pretty much. And that's pretty much all there is for this. Thank you for watching. This code will be on GitHub. If you have any questions or anything, make sure you leave it in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, and share the video. And thank you for watching.